everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lucy and in today's video I am telling you about the books that I want to read this summer. So we're bringing it old school. I love a good TBR video, a good kind of like talking you through my summer reading plans. And you know what, my perception on summer is really changing. I just feel a lot more excited about it and kind of excited about warmer weather, sunnier days, and also all the good reading opportunities that summer brings. So I have quite an interesting mix of different genres here. Generally, I'm a big reader of fantasy romance, and historical fiction. And there may be kind of a good mix of that in here today as well. So before we get started, if you do enjoy this video, why not subscribe, hit that like button, and don't forget to leave a comment telling me which books you'll be reading this summer. Let's just get started because I have 6 books here that I desperately want to talk to you about that I'm so excited to read over the next few months. So the first book is one that I've been meaning to read for a while. I did actually buy this last summer or the summer before. It is It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. So I've heard that this is a really great steamy romance and it's contemporary, which often I don't read a lot of. Like, contemporary romance isn't usually my thing, but this is supposedly inspired by Schitt's Creek, the TV show, basically about Hollywood it girl cut off from her family who goes to stay in a small town, and I believe she has it off with a surly sexy local. That's the description. I'm very, very excited. I think he's a fisherman. Why do I think he's a fisherman? He's a sea captain called Brendan. And basically they just have this like summer affair and fall in love. That sounds absolutely amazing, and I really love that kind of Schitt's Creek inspired element to it as well. Tessa Bailey is known for very great romances, and this is actually my first Tessa Bailey, so I haven't read any of her other books. I'm just after something not too plot heavy, just very escapist, and I think this will definitely do the trick. I have been waiting to read this in summer as well because I just think the summer vibes, like it's the perfect time to read romance. So this is one of my top reads this summer that hopefully I'll get around to very, very soon. The next book I really want to read is something very different, guys. It's a classic. I mean, I've not read a classic in a long, long time, but it is a modern classic, and this is I Captured the Castle by Dodie Smith. So this is a lot of people's favourite novel. It's about a girl called Cassandra who lives in this crumbling aristocratic castle with her quite eccentric family, and I believe that this American family who are the heirs to the castle arrive and Cassandra falls in love for the first time with one of the members of the family. So I'm really intrigued by this because I think this is a lot of people's favourite. It's also kind of a cottagecore staple in the sense that it's in the English countryside, it's a crumbling old castle. I think it's set during a summer, I want to say. So I already have very big ideas about what this book is going to be like. I want it to be very escapist and just magical and wholesome. Those are the vibes I'm hoping to get from I Captured the Castle. So I'm really, really excited to read this one. Do let me know if you've read this and what you thought about it, because I've heard non-stop good things. So really, really excited to finally read this book. I've had this on my shelves for a long, long time. Now, the next book is a new release that's going to be publishing in August 2023, and that is Masters of Death by Olivia Blake. So this is a proof copy that was very kindly gifted to me from Tor UK, and I'm really excited because I am a new super fan of Olivia Blake's writing. So this is supposed to be quite quirky. I mean, Olivia Blake is quite a quirky writer anyway. Her fantasy stories are definitely more on the unique end. So when Viola Marek, real estate agent and vampire, yes, we have a vampire book, I am hyped, discovers that the house that she's trying to sell is haunted, she has to bring in an exorcist, like a medium, to exorcise the ghost. And the medium that is brought in, called Fox, great name, is a complete fraud, even though he is technically the godson of death. And they get embroiled in this quest, basically around the ghost that they're trying to exorcise. So this is very, very unique and very different. It is fantasy, so I'm super excited to have some fantasy. I am hoping that there's a romance as well, because this just sounds very quirky, very unique, but also the perfect fantasy for the summer because it sounds quite like modern. And I don't know about you, but any fantasy that is more basically not urban fantasy, something that's quite epic fantasy or high fantasy, I kind of associate that with autumn, winter, you know, even though I do read fantasy all year round. So this sounds a little bit different, more summer appropriate. I'm very excited to start reading this. Now the next book is historical fantasy, I want to say, like historical fiction with a fantasy twist. And this is The Dance Tree by Kieran Millwood Hargrave. Now this proof copy was very kindly sent to me from Pam Macmillan a long while ago. I think it was like last year, the year before maybe. This is based on a historical event. So in Strasbourg in the 1500s, there is this real historical event where people just couldn't stop dancing for an entire summer. And this book is basically inspired by that. So it features a lone woman who, in a blisteringly hot summer, you can sense a theme here, a woman starts dancing. And then she's joined by hundreds of others who just can't stop dancing with her. This follows Elizabeth, who is pregnant. She lives with her husband and her mother-in-law. And there is kind of a side plot to all of this, featuring her sister-in-law who has been exiled for 7 years for a crime that nobody knows anything about. So all of the dancing is going on at the same time as the return of this sister-in-law, but there is a secret to uncover and Elizabeth is determined to find out what it is. So this sounds amazing. It's the perfect blend for me between history and a more like fantasy, thriller, secret-y thing that needs to be discovered. So I really, really love historical fiction like this, where there's a spin on a real life event. And for my own writing, I also am writing in a similar space. Hopefully news to come on that very soon. I mean, God knows. But anyway, very, very excited about The Dance Tree. This was published in 2022, so last year, and I'm only just getting around to it now. But the fact that this is featured over a very long hot summer is kind of perfect, because it sounds like the perfect summer read. Next up, we have more historical fiction. I don't know why I'm really craving historical fiction this summer. There is something escapist about it and quite magical that I just particularly like to read in the summer. So I'm going to read Hamlet by Maggie O'Farrell. Now I've been meaning to read this for a very long time. I'm only just getting around to reading it. Now this is inspired by Shakespeare, and he obviously had a son called Hamlet. Now this is about Hamlet, who has a twin sister who is very, very ill, and no one is at home to help them. So he searches everywhere for help, but his father and mother are elsewhere. And this is basically a story of a week in his life, I believe. So I don't know a lot about that beyond the blurb, what the blurb tells me. But this did win the Women's Prize for Fiction in 2020, I want to say. And Maggie O'Farrell is such a celebrated authoress who I've just never read before. So I need to change that. Hamlet is a great place to start, I think. Let me know if you've read it and what you thought about it. But I'm really excited to read this. I love historical fiction, as I've said. So this summer just feels like the right time to do that. And finally, a little bit of non-fiction just to mix it up a bit. This is Notes on Heartbreak by Annie Lord. Now this is a non-fiction book all about a breakup. And essentially it's a love story that's told in reverse. So it starts with the breakup of a real life breakup, one of Annie's breakups, the author, and it basically tells their love story backwards to how they first met. And there's something just about that idea, that kind of recounting of a breakup and told in a very unique way, that just really appeals to me. And I really crave nonfiction in the summer, like anything that's about, people's lives and that I can kind of relate to in a way. Like I love all that stuff, I eat it up. So I have heard a lot of great things about this. This was published a few years back, I believe, and I've had it on my TBR for a while now. So I'm just hoping to read this very, very soon. Do let me know if you've read this and if you like nonfiction in the summer, because I think it's a great thing to mix up your reading. Like I like to read nonfiction and fiction at the same time to mix it up a bit. And I'm really excited to getting around to reading this too. So guys, that's it for all the books that I want to read this summer. There are 6 books here and I'm really hoping that I get to every one of these. But to be fair, like the thing about summer is I am a mood reader at the best of times, but in summer the mood reading takes over. So I really want to read these 6 books, but also just enjoy like what I feel like, which at the minute is a lot of romance. I mean, nothing's changing there. But I'm really excited to get to these books and I'll let you guys know my thoughts about them. So if you're not already following me on Instagram, on TikTok, on Twitter, do follow me along. Instagram is where I post the most up-to-date bits on my reading. So if you want to know what I think about these books whilst I'm reading them, definitely follow me on Instagram. Thank you so much for watching this video. Do let me know what's on your summer TBR down in the comments below, and I'll see you very, very soon for another video. Bye.